Recording. There we go. It's good to do another one of these Zoomterviews as such. And this week I have my friend Chris with me to hear a little bit about what's going on in his world with regard to the effects of COVID-19 and so on. And that's why we're doing this little series, or maybe longer series of interviews or Zoomterviews. And so, Chris, welcome to this time. And just, I've told people you're called Chris. Tell us who you are, what you do, and what your organisation is, but maybe not what they do quite yet.
Well, John, thank you for inviting me along. Very exciting to be on these Zoom interviews or something like that you call them. It's great. Yes, as you know, my name is Chris, and I work with an organisation called Salt Factory Sports, a sports ministry based in Lisbon, in Northern Ireland. We're based here, but we do a lot of work across the world and bits of Europe, Eastern Europe, Africa, lots of countries in Africa, and India as well.
Okay.
It's all about using sports to engage people. Yeah.
Lovely. And some people might have picked up from here, from the Donegal area, that Salt Factory Sports, maybe, oh, I know that name somewhere. And that's because you were going to be coming to us for a weekend at the start of June with a team and so on. And sadly, that didn't take place. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about, well, what would have taken place on that weekend, and suddenly made up a question that you weren't expecting, and then, well, how does that normally look? As what do you do whenever you go places?
Okay, good question. There are three main things that we do. One is what I call the kind of the year-round stuff. So we do a lot of work in schools, doing assemblies and supporting SU groups, doing after-school multi-sport clubs. With churches, church youth groups, youth fellowships, all sports activities, games, but also linking into a devotion, bringing in a sports analogy and a Bible verse. And all low-level sport, just engaging, having fun, supporting churches get into their communities, creating those links. The second thing we do would be working with high-level teams, so national teams, Olympic teams, professional teams, helping them get better at what they do in the sports world, but also sharing the gospel with them, doing Bible studies with them. So the way I kind of describe it is that, we Joe Blogs beginning at golf needs to know about Jesus, and Rory McIlroy needs to know about Jesus too. And so we have the real privilege of working in both areas. And the third thing we do is combining all that stuff over the summer, usually from mid-April to mid-August. We run summer clubs, camps, and missions with churches on our own, getting people together, doing sport and sharing the gospel with them.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that we were hoping to happen here with the schools, and doing like lots of different activities on a day, and then sharing the gospel in the middle of all that, and then a fun day and all that. So yeah,
a big thing of what we describe, I say we're a conduit, linking churches to the community. So we can bring people in, we can let them do lots of fun activities, have a buzz, create a buzz.
Yeah.
But we have to link it to local churches, and you guys are there for ongoing discipleship. Yeah. So
no,
we weren't able to be there. I was looking forward to our first trip to Donegal. But that's something we can look forward to again, John. No problem.
Yeah. We hope that eventually the restrictions will lift well enough for that to be possible as well.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I mean, obviously, the whole world has been impacted by COVID. The churches, but businesses, communities, and all and sundry. How have these days affected the work and ministry of Salt Factory Sports then?
Well, it came as a bit of a shock to us. Pretty much overnight, everything stopped. Throughout the year, the vast amount of work we do is in schools, with churches, with uniformed organisations, with amateur sports clubs. And the 19th of March, I think it was, it all just came crashing down. Yeah. We had interns here from the States. We had a good number of staff, and everything was going so well. And we were looking forward to a real bumper summer of missions, and it just pretty much came crashing down, which was a bit of a shock. And then very quickly, all the summer missions, clubs, camps, and missions again, sorry, weren't able to be with you this year.
Yeah.
One by one, they just came crashing down.
Yeah.
So it all kind of came to a cliff edge. We were so excited, so looking forward to what God was going to allow us to do, and then it stopped. Pretty much like a lot of missions, a lot of churches, just things shut down very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And did you find then, were staff put on furlough? Did you find that did your interns, did they have to head back home and so on?
Yeah, interns had to go home. Had to make sure that they were able to get flights back to the States. So some of them went home early, which was a disappointment for everybody. They were great, but it was rather than being stuck here and overstaying a visa, the best thing was for them to get back. And pretty much all the rest of us, the five of us here, are on furlough. We've been on furlough since the middle of March, and will be for a while yet.
Okay.
So just kind of things shut down so quickly, and yeah.
And so, in a sense, then I guess, well, being on furlough, you're not really meant to be doing any work. But
it's a pleasure. This is not work. The pleasure, John.
Thanks. I'm just wondering, do you have do you have an idea of when things can resume? Do you have an idea of when you'd be able to pick schools work up and things like that? Is that something you're hoping that September will bring, or do you think you might be waiting a bit longer?
I've no idea, John, because the advice and the guidance changes almost daily, weekly certainly, and so sometimes, as we're beginning to think about, well, what could September look like? Are schools going to be back? Will they be back full time? Certainly, I don't think they'll want outsiders like ourselves coming in. They want to keep as sterile in the bubble as possible. So we're beginning to think about what can we do differently? What can we change? Because we want to keep sharing the gospel. We want to still keep getting out into our communities. But that's going to get harder to do physically. So how can we change what we do and how we do it?
Okay. And I suppose the challenges that we face as the Christian community is to look upon these days as, yes, challenges, but opportunities as well. And so do you feel that there have been opportunities that you've been able to avail of in these times? Or really has it just been a case of dig into God's word, bed down and pray through these days? Have there been positives to this whole time?
There has. And when I knew we were going on furlough, I had a whole list of things to do. I was going to read a lot of books. I was going to do my garden. I was going to paint the living room. I was going to spend hours every day with God. And it hasn't always happened the way I had planned, I had wanted. In fact, the tubs of paint are still sitting there. If anybody wants to come up and help me out, that would be great. But don't get me wrong, there have been positives. And certainly for Salt Factory, one of the big positives is every Monday we decided to meet online and chat and pray and catch up. And that to me has been an eye-opener. I'd be, I suppose, a little bit demanding. I want things to get done. I want things to get done well. But not having things to do, we've been allowed to look at each other personally and to talk and to pray and to have some fun together and not worry about, you've done this, so you're going to do this, so you plan for that. So one of the real benefits for our mission has just been, I suppose, getting to know each other deeper, getting into each other's lives, spending time really praying effectively and intentionally for each other. And that's something that we try and do when we're at work, we try and do in the office, but it's always fairly quick and always fairly, okay, let's do this so we can get on and do some work. And just being able to take that time, enjoy each other's company, learn more about each other's families, get involved in that, and that has been a real benefit, a real positive coming from all of this.
Yeah, oh, that's super. Look, the final question in all of these is really comes back to kind of what can we do, or maybe particularly what can we pray?
There's three things that I think that we should pray about. One of them is that we trust God. I'm reading through Isaiah at the moment of all the things he could be doing, and the verse there. Let me just read this to you, if I can find it. Isaiah. Let me see. I think it's Isaiah 26. It says, Don't believe all the conspiracies going on around you. I'm paraphrasing here. Just trust in God. He has made a path smooth, and I think it's so important for us to trust God. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what next week or tomorrow looks like, and all this was a big shock to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think we need to pray that, God, we trust that you have got it. We trust that you know what you're doing. We trust that we can play a small part as a husband, as a father, as a church leader, as a mission organization, as congregation. God, I trust you. You know what you're doing, and I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be fearful. That's something I think that we can stand. This is an opportunity for Christians to stand up and say, "Hey, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. I know that God has got it, and we can be different. We can stand out from those around us, having that attitude and being real, knowing that God has got it. That's something we should be praying for. Absolutely."
Okay. You said there's 3 things, did you?
I'm so involved.
And you stopped at trust, which is a good one to have.
Yeah, I wish I had more of it. 2 other things. One, with all I work with children and young people, when it kind of came to an end, we had no real way to continue that evangelism or discipleship with them. A lot of them being under 18, we can't phone them, we can't WhatsApp them, we can't video call them, and it's kind of difficult to continue evangelistic conversations, discipleship through a parent. So I would love if you could pray that those people who are not currently engaged in a church, or kids who we know through high school activities who would never darken the door of a church, that their faith will continue to grow, that they will continue to take a step closer to God, even in times like this. Again, it goes back to trust. I have to trust that God has got them, and He's able to do that without us. And the third thing, I suppose, very quickly, is just about what we do in the future. You know, God has opened so many doors, given us so many great opportunities, but they are going to have to change. And the way we engage with people are going to change. I'm not very au fait with this old interweb thing. I don't know about, not very creative when it comes to those types of things. So I would pray for me that you would give us creativity, innovation, and opportunities to engage in a real, deep, meaningful way, but different than the past over the next 6 months.
Okay. So trust God. Pray for the kids that you would have had engagement with, because that's separated or that's been broken for now, and to goodness,
creativity, innovation.
The future. That's what it was. Great interviewer. A great interviewer always remembers what he's told me. Anyway, Chris, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing with us, and God bless you and Salt Factory Sports as you continue your journey through these days.
God bless you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.